My god, it's been a while since I last went down to the Steam dungeon. What do I even do here again? Oh, here's a note. Weird good game Steam. Ah, well there we go then. Well, if I'm here I might as well make a party of it. Epic returning opening titles please.
Take a look, what do you see?
What was that? Seriously, what was that? That was... Never mind. Anywho, Lichdom Battlemage is a game that should have just been called Battlemage, because Lichdom means absolutely nothing, and only serves to muddy what you do in this game. You are a mage that spends the whole game battling, and it's awesome. It's like some people were using Skyrim's magic system were wondering why everyone isn't always exploding all the time. So they got out CryEngine and made everything nice and particle-y, and then went nuts. Set levitation traps, lob fireballs, freeze your enemies. You be the avatar and pretend to fly on a... What, is that a giant goat spider bear? Oh jeez, I digress. Battlemage's best quality is that it's all round satisfying to play. While you'll spend the whole game basically just non-stop fighting, the tools at your disposal allow the game to remain solidly interesting. There's various schools of magic, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. You can carry 3 of these at any one time, and each school allows for 3 main spells: a targeted spell, an AoE, and a block. In each of these you can create variations of each type, like traps, beams, whirlpools, grenades, and add to that each spell can become a control spell to manipulate opponents, mastery spells to store damage multipliers and various other effects in opponents, and destruction spells to actually do the damage and unleash those mastery benefits that you put into enemies. And the fact that all of this is done by an entirely customizable crafting system, with randomized loot drops, components that you can put together and make new spells, and holy shit, this is getting really complicated really fast. Battlemage is not an easy game. Even your health bar and dodging systems are determined by a crafted shield spell. But regardless of what systems you choose, you're never going to find yourself feeling too nimble. Strategic targeting, spell design, combo potential and crowd control become essential, and it's easy to see how some can become overwhelmed because the tutorials are all done in little obtrusive, not really that useful videos. The smart inventory meant for beginners is useful for straight upgrades, but doesn't let you properly customise and reconfigure loadouts in the same way as the normal inventory, making it become pretty obsolete pretty fast. And despite the more deliberate and slow pace of battles compared to your standard shooter, the game has a nasty habit of being a tad unrelenting sometimes. Oh, and on a side note, always be careful of making a new loadout to demonstrate your ideas. When recording that sounds cool and full of combos, but doesn't actually have a damage spell to initiate any of these combos, leaving you running around trying to craft one mid-combat in a desperate attempt to still somehow seem cool and awesome, and it doesn't work, and you just end up getting wasted footage that you have to put in this video because, I mean, it's got to be mentioned that that's the thing, you can actually just screw yourself over in this game if you make really shit builds. So don't do that. It's not a thing to do. All that said, this sense of fatigue isn't helped by a really not great story. This was an early access game originally, and the story basically seemed to change every week back then. There was a cool bit where you're actually an escapee from a blood ritual cult, taking revenge because they made you basically rape and kill everyone you ever knew. But that ended up getting scrapped for some rubbish about Troy Baker being angry that his wife died for the 8th millionth time in a video game. Or, if you play a female character, it's Jennifer Hale being annoyed that her sister done got abducted and blah 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 blah. Oh my god, I don't care, game. Stop trying to make me think I care. I don't care. Okay, it's fine. You're a good game. It's fine. Stop thinking I care. So yeah, it's a tad repetitive and the story definitely won't motivate you to keep going. But what should is a deep battle system. The hope of more spells to craft, even going past New Game Plus, and the fact that planting a biological parasite into a group of enemies, feeding it a beam mastery spell to make it grow with enough time and then exploding it with fire can create a combo that makes a super high damage virus spread from enemy to enemy, while a giant disgusting brain parasite becomes a turret that follows you firing blue spells at enemies that when hit with an explosive spell multiplies the damage exponentially is a thing never gets old. All you may do in this game is create spells and be a motherfucking battle mage, but it does a great job at making being a motherfucking battle mage cerebral, satisfying, and a ton of fun. The idea of new spells and combinations and increased average DPS rates is never not exciting. I know that sounds nerdy, but it's very true. It definitely isn't for everybody, and if you have a console, the port runs like this. So yeah, if you're not a PC guy, avoid this one. It's almost like this show is specifically for Steam games anyway or something. Regardless of its issues, I really do love Lichdom Battlemage. There's something wonderfully primal about being the master of the elements and creating ways to mess with them together. So while its price tag might be a bit much for most people, if you ever see a good price on this game, it's really worth your time having a go. I mean, despite a mess story and its gameplay ideas, it's actually pretty great for LARPing as well. I mean, with the power of water in one hand and the power of electricity in the other, you can become a true battle mage!